I think it's very obvious when looking at all these headlines that the financial crisis is not only about the money, it's also about the people. There are already a lot of institutions which are looking at the money part. We will look at the social part. Our paper, our project is based on the social part. So, what went wrong? What went wrong with Europe? How come we had a domino effect? It's hard to say. There are two things I want to stress here. One thing is that it's not the financial crisis who created the systemic failure of European Union. There were already issues that were there before, and it's just the financial crisis will emphasize on them and will bring them up to the surface. The second part I want to mention here is that when we talk about the European Union, we talk about the system, we talk about the union. So we cannot blame one particular part for what happens there. We cannot blame a country, we cannot blame a nation, we cannot blame an authority. We have to look at it in its globality. I just mentioned that we had a system failure, so we have to talk about a system. What is the system? A system is a group of elements, a group of parts, which are all interdependent, and where the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. If you look at the human body that's a perfect example of a system, a very complex system. If we take all the parts from the human body and put them beside, they will not function anymore. If we take a heart in our hand, they will not pump. Our lungs outside the body, they will not breathe. A human body will only function if everything is interconnected and everything is working at once. And we can link the human body to the European Union. The European Union is considered as a body as well. You cannot take things apart. The countries, nations, institutions, they're all interrelated. And because they're all interrelated, we have to think about solving the issue in a systemic thinking approach and not taking a linear approach to tackle the issue. Monnet is one of the founding fathers of the European Union. He said we need to be united. We need to be united, not as nations, but as man. And this is something that was very recently echoed by the current president of the European Union.
The key message here is that the financial crisis is not about figures. It is about people.
So let's see natural disaster and financial disaster, how they affect people's lives. So what's disaster? According to the American College of Emergency Physicians, when the destructive effects of nature or man-made forces overwhelm the ability of a given area or community to meet demand for healthcare. So another definition from the World Health Organization, a certain ecologic phenomenon of sufficient magnitude to require external assistance. So it's very clear here. Disasters are defined by what they do to people. So see these consequences. So we lost our lives, families, friends, houses, belongings, jobs. Now so we have negative impact on the effective economy and increased unhappiness and the suicide rates. We've gone through many natural disasters together, like an earthquake in China, Japan, Haiti. But why have we not reacted in a similar way when we try to solve the problem in Europe?
Social impact of the crisis. Throughout the financial crisis, everyone focused on the financial aspect and the political aspect. But what about the people? Because of the crisis in the European crisis, we've witnessed an increased number of suicides, mental health problems amongst the youth, the unemployed, and the unskilled. Because of these issues, people are starting to lose faith in the European Union. And because of that, we've seen over the past few years, if we can look at the map, at the graph, people's faith, confidence, and trust in the European Union has decreased drastically.
Okay, so when looking at the transformation of the EU, it's quite a big task to tackle, and so we wanted to consider it from three aspects. We wanted to look at the social, economic, and political. For the purpose of our study, we're just going to focus on the social, but those are the three aspects that we feel it's kind of like a threefold strategy. we understand that a transformation to that is going to take a long time, and so we've broken that down into short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And then it's also it's a weird concept because you're trying to think of the transformation, but where do you start? Where do you start trying to think of how are we going to transform or how are we going to fix it? So we went back to the very beginning. We went back to what was the original vision for the EU? What is it that they saw and what was their purpose? Winston Churchill actually said it really well. He spoke about his desire or his vision for Europe, and he kind of wanted people to say, he wanted the Germans, for example, to say, I love the Eiffel Tower, it's my Eiffel Tower. He wants people, no matter what nation you come from, what country you come from, to kind of feel at home no matter where you are in Europe. So that was one thing we focused on. Then we also realized that obviously diversity is a big thing. We're working with a lot of different nations, a lot of different people. And you don't want to break that down. You don't want to say, let's all become uniform, let's all become European, but you almost want to say, well, how can Europe be one and also be many at the same time? So to include that diversity. And again, we looked at the ideal. What does the ideal situation look like socially, economically, and politically? And how are we going to get there? The main taking from that part of our study was kind of that we need to focus on something that's healthy, an environment that's healthy for those three aspects, because healthy things naturally will grow. So up until now, for the short-term interventions, the EU's been focusing on bailouts, austerity measures, etc., which is obviously a short-term solution that backfires. You can see, obviously, what happens is we bail them out, the debt increases, the austerity measures aren't always followed or followed through, and eventually the debt just increases. There's a very big feeling of discouragement, and it's just a vicious cycle. So Guanding is going to take us through some of our short-term interventions, and then we'll follow up with the medium and long-term.
Okay. So the first solution for the short-term intervention is that education. Instead of focusing on bailouts, we suggest that you should be focusing on training, education, and skill acquisitions. So there are many different aspects of education that can be introduced or improved. However, we have our solution that will more majorly focus on career training and development programs, which will significantly speed up the recovery of the crisis. So this program will be initiated by European unions and work closely with each individual countries. It will also show that the European Union actually care about their people, and at the same time, all the citizens will will be trained with skills that will help them have more opportunities in terms of looking for jobs and employment rate. And we also suggest that they would have a little bit minimum wage for each participant who enroll in the course, and once they graduate from the program, they will get a little bit initial down payments for some encouragement, so that they will have more participants really take the course and get highly skilled. And also, so like for example, will be for Germany. And Germany, the machinery industry in Germany has been growing for the past few years, as you can see, and also is one of the world-leading industry in Germany. So European Union can work with the German governments and invite the high-skilled manager or instructors in this industry and help the member states in machinery industry. And once the participants complete their programs, they can go back to, they can work for Germany and they can work for Germany immediately to fill up the labor shortage. At the same time, they can also go back to their own country to add value to the machinery industry. So basically, the concept is that all the different countries, the concept will be the same. The program will be uniform across the European Union. However, the European Union will help each single country find their comparative advantage and their core value of the industry and help the member states. So after talking about the benefits for people, how does education can benefit governments? So once the laborers get educated or they have special skills, they will have very high opportunity to find an employer, so which income is generated. At the same time, of course, they have to pay tax to government, and government can use those tax to pay the debts. So this is a healthy circle that benefits both individual and government. It's a win-win situation.
The second short-term intervention is